During this session, we've been talking about mission critical protection. Uli has mentioned, like for example, this unified agent that we have recently developed. Okay, we have talked about the performance, how data is growing, and so. These are some of the needs the customers are facing, and many times they are facing with different tools. Some time ago, and this is an example I used to provide as much as possible. Some time ago, I read an article where a customer was managing 3 different backup tools for file system, for virtual environments, and for databases, if I'm not wrong. And all of them were impacted by a ransomware attack, all of the environments. So imagine how complex it is to manage a backup process with 3 different tools, but even more, how to recover 3 different tools. With Data Protector, as Peter mentioned at the very beginning, we can provide a 360-degree strategy to protect all the different data. And as you can see from Uli's presentation, we are including more and more functionalities to move ahead into the cloud and SaaS world. As I used to say during version 10, we developed the security. We increased the security enhancements in Data Protector, and now we are moving into the distributed and cloud environments. So together with me in this last track, we have JJ Moreno, Worldwide Sales Engineer Manager for Data Protection.
Pleased to meet you.
And the idea, as I told you, is to provide you some real examples about how these kind of functionalities are addressed or are managed by Data Protector in order to address real needs. So JJ, you can move into the next slide, please.
Sure.
So we have seen how ransomware, cyber attacks, and security concerns are becoming more and more important for the companies, but also we realized that it's not only talking about, for example, Microsoft 365 or the cloud environments. We still need to protect, let's say, legacy environments like Oracle, SAP, etc. And some customers are still using previous version of these databases or applications. And at the end, what really matters is to focus on how to move ahead the digital company, the digital assets that the companies are managing. So if you can go to the next slide, JJ.
Yeah.
So first of all, ransomware protection. This is a sales play I mentioned to you at the partner track session. It's just not a business case. So at the very beginning, it was like a joke, let's say it somehow, for some or very specific companies. But nowadays, it's something that it's impacting even citizens, SEPs, even public entities with very sensitive information. With Data Protector, we can reduce the risk, providing a real data protection strategy. We can speed up the recovery times, and JJ will talk about it, because at the end, we can provide a comprehensive 360-degree data protection, covering physical, virtual, on-premise, or cloud environments. As I'm telling you, we have a complete sales play with presentations, brochures, assets, etc. And here you can see some of the typical questions, let's say, that we can have in front of you when talking to the customer. So, JJ, over to you.
Thank you, Juan. Yeah, as you have seen in the presentation from Lawrence, this is a very complex situation that we are having with ransomware, and it has not to be addressed only with a backup software. Here we need to have a lot of different approach, and it has to start having your own people in your organization educated. You need to have a firewall protection, intruder and malware protection, antivirus. You need to have all the security updates in your operating systems. You need to patch your system regularly, scanning your email, and be very ready for any kind of social engineering attack. And at the end, you need to have a backup solution. And then this backup solution has to be ready for restore when you have real problem. And for that, you need to have a real backup. And for that, what the market is really recommending is having a 3-to-1 strategy. This is not a new term. This is a term that is in the backup since almost the beginning. It's something easy. It's just a rule where you need to keep at least 3 different copies of your production data, store these copies at least in 2 different backup storage medias, and at least one of them should be located offsite. For having this kind of configuration and being able to restore, there is a series of capabilities that your software need to have. You need to be able to have offline backup. This is something as simple as taking the tape out of the tape library. But not everybody can really manage tapes these days, even though tape is not dead. On the contrary, it's starting to be coming back to life. And I don't know if you know it, but in LTO9, I think just the native capacity is around 24 terabytes, and it's getting duplicated in every single version. So LTO10 is going to have 38 terabytes of native capacity, not compressed. So another term you probably will listen a lot in this ransomware is the air gap backup. At the end of the day, is having a copy of your backup and that is offline, is disconnected, and is not accessible from any internet or any system. So you know that ransomware is not going to really corrupt this copy. In the same space, we have immutability and we have worm. Immutability is just a capability of, as Uli has told, in your disk storage, when you are doing the backup to an appliance or a duplication store like the one we have in DP, you are able just to set up a flag. So no one is going to be able to delete this data from your backup. So even if you lost control of your self manager or your server, no one is going to be able to connect and try to delete your tapes. And worm is a simple thing, it's just clicking in your tape and being able that no one is going to write anything more physically in your tape. Ransomware is a live animal and it's evolving. At the beginning, it was attacking only to the availability. So you get an attack of ransomware, it encrypts all your data, so you can access to your data. But now it is evolving, and now it's also attacking to the confidentiality of your data because it's infecting your system, it's getting sleep for some time. They need wake ups and start copying your data to the dark net, wherever, and then they start encrypting your data. So by the time you discover you have a ransomware, your data is encrypted and it's also being copied somewhere. So no matter if you pay the ransomware, you probably will not get your data back, or probably you get your data back, but the second copy will stay in a public place or whatever, share with your enemies. So there is a lot of methods for trying to restore from an attack, and we offer all of them. We can back up to the cloud, private or public clouds. We can do a tape, of course, a disk. We can replicate the backups, of course, the duplication first, so we are not really spending a lot of throttle band. And also we can encrypt all the communications data in res or on the fly. So we can assure that from Data Protector you will restore your data if you have a proper backup. Let me try to go to the next slide. So let me see if I can now. Okay, so this is just a typical situation where a customer is doing a solution against ransomware. So in this left part, there are all the different environments. So we can easily do a backup to tape, and this tape being offloaded into a vault, into a secondary copy, wherever it can be here. We can directly write to the cloud if we want. We can directly write to a disk. From this disk, we can move the data directly to a tape, or we can replicate it to a second disk, or we can replicate it to the cloud. So easily you can set up a 3-to-1 policy in Data Protector. So this is a real example happening in one of our customers in Europe. managed by one of our best partners. And it was a customer that was hit with this ransomware. More than 3,000 servers and virtual machines were lost just in one day when they discovered it. And the sales manager, in this case, it was in Windows. So when they discovered the problem, they were not able to restore anything because the sales manager was also infected. It's a good policy, by the way, having it in high availability and also in Linux. That is something that is possible with Data Protector, because then you are saving you from this situation. What they have to do here is set up a new environment to restore. And this is not an easy thing, because even if your data has been attacked and corrupted, the customer didn't want just to delete everything from their storage. So they have to buy another storage, bring another storage to the data center, and start the restore in this new storage, because they were afraid of deleting something that could be key for the business. So as soon as all the new environment was ready for start recovering, we recovered the internal database in HCA mode. We check in and see that the catalog was okay and healthy, and then we start launching the different recovery scenarios for the file system, VMware, Hyper-V, Chain, SQL. It was a big environment, even Documentum. Then it was an enormous problem of bottlenecks, because even from the tape, we were able to restore much faster than they were able to provide us systems and be sure that it was in compliance with all the security rules and analysis they have to do. So I can tell you that this was really one of the most difficult times in our lives. So something that we learned from this, for example, problem is having the possibility of activate all the built-in security that we have in the product. We have the capability to encrypt the policy, creating a new store for this data, change the backup policy to this store, and then do all the checking and activate the immutability in these new stores. Then you will be sure that no one is going to delete never the backup you have in the cloud or in your disk. Back to you, Juan.
Thank you, JJ. So next up, let's say on that way, cloud protection. Many companies, but not all, are moving into the cloud or are implementing a cloud strategy. With Data Protector, we can target this kind of environments. For a long time, we have been supporting Amazon and Azure. And now with Data Protector for cloud workloads, we are targeting other cloud environments. As mentioned, also, we can target the Microsoft 365, for example, and as presented at the very beginning, many companies are not thinking about it. They consider that Microsoft may protect or is protecting this kind of environment. So something that it's important to explain is that we used to have a hybrid IT environment. It's not only physical, it's not only virtual, but it's not only on-premise or in the cloud. We can face different kind of environments. And if we have a company that has different headquarters or factories, you can find that sometimes they are mixing this kind of environment. So with Data Protector, we can enforce a common strategy and provide an integration from a global backup solution. And as we are explaining today, we can provide advanced recovery options depending on our customers' RPOs, RTOs, and SLAs. So these are, again, some of the questions that you may present to your customers when talking about cloud protection. And this is one, again, of the sales plays we have available for you. JJ?
Thank you, Juan. Okay, let me try to get my pointer back if he wants. Okay, so then this is just an example of a customer using Data Protector for cloud workloads in Azure. It is a small customer, it's more or less 1,000 of online mailboxes. You have to know that if you have a customer that is having a premium license, he's allowed to do backup with Data Protector for Cloud Workloads of their chain online mailboxes. So they don't need to add any kind of additional license. It is included in the DP Premium already. So in this case, it's just a customer that decided to back up these online mailboxes. They decided to set up a splitting up the DP for Cloud Workload server and the node. This is not mandatory. These two roles can coexist in only one server, but in this case, they decided to do it in this way, and then they are doing two different copies to the different storage inside the cloud. So this is a simple example where all the data is in your cloud. I'm bringing another one that is also, I think, quite interesting. Let me bring up the pointer. So this is a real example of a customer also that is decided to move their historical data from on-premise to an Azure tenant. For that, of course, in the PowerPoint, everything is easy, but when you need to move around 200 of LTO tapes to the cloud, you are facing a lot of troubles, starting from the bandwidth, because there is a throttle on the bandwidth that the providers will, of course, apply if you start moving data to the cloud very fast or taking data from the cloud very, very demanding, and also the cost of the writing. So this is a real example where we take a customer, selected first what was really the data they wanted to upload to the historical data, because sometimes you do backup of more things that you need, and then you need to see. We move the data from an encrypted media to an unencrypted media, move it to a different data center, and then we hire a server that a service that is provided by Azure that is called Databox. We needed 5 data boxes here. We move the data here, and we in this service you can get some appliance or digs from Azure, and you can then after copy the data, you ship the data directly to the data center of Azure. In this case, we move it to one data center in the north of Europe, around 1,500 kilometers away from the data center. We again import it in Data Protector, and then we move it to a blob storage in Azure. So everything can be done. Reality is not as easy as a paper, but honestly, if you have the right tools, you can do whatever with Data Protector. And just for you to know, the estimation of this project was 6 months. Good. Back to you, Juan.
Oops, sorry. So, ransomware protection, cloud protection. But what about, as presented or commented, databases? We can do it in the best way. We have been doing for more than 30 years. At the very beginning, Data Protector or Omniback was providing this kind of integrations, direct integrations with the main vendors like Oracle and SAP. And at that point in time, just to provide you an example, the license was a single license, doesn't matter how many databases a customer may have. Now it's a matter to understand which are the critical applications you need to protect. It could be of Microsoft 365, as we've seen a while ago, but could be also, again, legacy environments. So with Data Protector, we can provide mission critical protection. You can rely on the way we integrate these processes, because we are talking directly into the database. We have the connectors, the APIs in order to do it. So we are consistent with the application, and we can standardize the processes. You can do it through the online agents, or even through this new unified agent that we have just released. But at the end, everything can be managed with a single solution. You don't need a third-party solution, or even if for example, the database, as many of you may know, for example, Oracle provides a backup tool or process, you don't need to compete against the same resources. With a single solution, you can manage whatever and improve the business resiliency and disaster recovery. One more time, This is another sales play we have available, presentations, data sheets, etc. And these are some of the questions you can run in front of your customers. And as again, we have a real example that JJ will explain you.
Yeah, thank you again, Juan. As you can see in this small picture here, we have really these agents ready for interact with all the different application. And this is just the traditional way we are doing things. We are just talking the same language that the application talk. So we use Harman for Oracle, we use backend for SAP. But times are moving very fast, and it's time of different things. So, oops, very fast. So that's why Uli introduced you this new unified agent architecture, where we are putting a lot of expectation, because it's like a foundation where we allow all our different customers to build the different integration agents for their application. And Uli was just putting an example that in one of our MSP providers in China, that they are using a completely different set of databases, nothing to do with anything in the West, and they need a way of creating their own agents. And it is the same with all these new non-relational databases that we are seeing in the cloud, like MongoDB in this fair release and the rest that we are going to come with. So there is going to be like a plugin that can to be, some of them are going to be developed by us, or other are going to be developed by the our providers, or even in all this internet or container world, there are a lot of different databases. This is a real example of one of our customers using Data Protector. Again, they are providing services to others, and this is one of many of many services they provide. This is an environment where they have approximately 1,000 of host servers running all the different system operating system that you can imagine: AIX, HPUX, Linux, or Windows. They have a big database environment with more than 650 instances of SAP HANA, MaxDB, Microsoft SQL, Oracle, Sysbase, and it is a multi-tenant database, so they are sharing infrastructure with the different customers. Daily, they do backup to more of 4,000 jobs, more than 250 terabytes, moving data to tape, storage, and Azure. Let me put the light pointer here. So they read the data from all these things. They write directly in tape and move it in a vault, also for being ready for whatever. And also they are writing to an store ones in this case, and using a cloud bank from HPE, they are moving data to the cloud. An interesting thing of this approach, that is the same we are going to have for our deduplication engine. It is like all the different effort of moving and deduplicating the data is done in the appliance, but all the control of this movement is set up by Data Protector. It's Data Protector who decide what data stays in the current disk, or go to the cloud, or is transferred to the tape. So it gives you full control of the application. And this is just another example. There are a lot of them more. Back to you, Juan. Thank you.
So we are reaching the end of our channel summit. And as an idea about what we have been presenting today, you can target any digital corporation. Okay, you can target business like healthcare entities, public sector healthcare entities, and where we have some references and customers protecting sensitive information. You can go to, let's say, more standard government entities, where we also have Data Protector, or you can go to utilities, financial market, or telecoms. These are some examples about customers that are using Data Protector. Sometimes we target it from a more technical oriented point of view, but as you have seen, we have some other messages to share with you and with them. It's not only a matter of how to back up, but also how to address real concerns like ransomware protection, like mission critical protection, like Microsoft 365 protection. Okay, so feel free to take a look about the sales place.